Hey there, this is Jake from Pigeon Forge. Thanks for joining me. Today I want to talk to you about destructuring assignments in JavaScript. The destructuring assignment is a relatively new concept that was introduced in ECMAScript 2015, also known as ES6. Destructuring abstracts away a bit of the complexity and tedium that we used to face when we were doing assignments from arrays and objects in the past. Although it could be done, it required sometimes twice, if not three times as much code as it does now with the destructuring assignment. I do caution, however, that this adds a bit of abstraction and can add a little bit of complexity and sometimes even mess with the modularity of code. So you may not want to use destructuring everywhere. However, it is very powerful and definitely will speed up your workflow. Let's head over to VS Code and check out some examples. Okay, so here we are in VS Code. I hope that you can see this. I hope this is big enough. Let's talk about destructuring today. Destructuring assignment. Let's start with a simple array that we'll use throughout some of our examples. Const base array equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Simple array of integers. Now, one of the challenges with creating a new array is that you can't simply come up with a new variable and make it equal to the old array. You can't assign it that way, because what happens is that you are not creating a new array, you're simply creating a new reference to that same array in memory. Let's see what happens if we create const new array equals base array. Console.log new array. And we run it. And sure enough, it shows those elements. However, if we say new array dot push 9, and then we console.log base array. Now we're printing out the base array here. What you'll see is that we have actually, by pushing 9, the element 9 onto the new array, we are mutating that object in memory for base array, because both base array and new array, they're pointing to the same object in memory. We must actually create a new object in memory as opposed to a new reference to that same object. And how we do that is, how we used to do that is honestly quite tedious. Let's say one of the old ways. One of the old ways was to do a for loop. You'd say, and there are actually a couple ways of doing the for loop. Let's do it. Let's do the old tried and true. Let's say let new array equal, and it will say for let I equal 0, I is less than base array dot length I plus plus, and then we could say new array dot push base array I, and then we could console.log new array. Run without debugging, and now we get that new array. And if we went to say new array dot push 9 and console.log base array, here you'll see that we've created a brand new array object in memory, so we're no longer mutating the base array. This is one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is that we could have done a for each. We could say base array dot for each, and then we could say I say new array dot push I. Let's comment this out. Okay, and this will accomplish the same thing, console.log new array, and that works as well. The for each is definitely a little better and probably preferred. It's one of my preferred methods for working with arrays. That's another way to create and to populate a new array. You could also mapping an array. Okay, so we still have that. Let's go ahead and actually delete all this here. Okay, we can map an array. Let's take this out here. Let's put this here. Let new array equal, and we can say base array dot map I arrow I, and then we console.log new array. And that's going to do the same thing. So that's mapping. And what's nice about mapping is you have this assignment all in one. So this is a little bit quicker. Okay. What about the new way? Let's get rid of this. The new way. With destructuring assignments come several powerful tools. One is the spread operator. The spread operator is the easiest way to simply copy an array. And you can do that one of two ways. We could say let new array equal, we do the spread here, base array, and that's going to create a copy. Let's do that, console.log new array, run, and you'll see that we get the new array. Another way of doing it, and this is the more common way it seems, is new array equals base array. And we just run it again to make sure it still works, and it does. So this spread, these three dots, basically spread out the elements of an array. So what we're doing is we're using these brackets here to indicate that we want to work with an array. And this array is going to equal somehow the base array. Within the brackets, we're going to describe how we're actually destructuring that original array. These dots, also known as the spread operator, and you're going to always hear it as spread operator. The spread operator is saying take all of the elements of the base array and spread them out and assign them to new array. So new array is the name of the new copy, and all of the elements from base array have been added there. You can also do it one by one. Say A, B, and then let's do tail equals base array. Console.log A, console.log B, console.log tail. Let's comment this out. Let's run it. Now what we've done here is we have said create the variable A and assign the first element of base array to it, create the variable B and assign the second element of base array to it, and then create the array tail by spreading out all remaining elements. That's pretty powerful. Now you can see how abstract this is becoming, because this, you're normally not going to get this in in a basic programming language. This definitely has a lot of hidden work behind the curtain that makes this powerful, but also again very abstract and can be complex. So use carefully. We can also work with functions. So let's create a function. We're going to call it spew array. It doesn't take in any parameters. Let's go ahead and comment that out. It doesn't take any in any parameters, but it just simply return base array. So this works just like new array equals spew array. So this works just like you'd expect it to, where if we then console.log new array, we get a new array. Again, this is taking all of those elements in the array, spreading them out, and putting them into a new array. Enough with arrays. That's pretty cool though. Let's go ahead and delete these out and comment that out. Let's say working with objects. Objects are pretty cool too. You can destructure objects in JavaScript. Let's create a sample called base object. Let's say it's title Destructuring Assignment. And length, say 10. And just hoping we're going to get this under 10 minutes. And then the summary. This is how we destructure. All right. Now, what we can do is we can get title equals base object. Console.log title. We have to say const, sorry. Const title. So with when you're working with arrays, you don't have to declare that const. For some reason, JavaScript allows you to skip using const or let or var or whatever with variables when you're destructuring. But with objects, for some reason, it does really want you to use const or let or whatnot. So const title equals base object. what we're saying is create a new constant variable named title from base object. And because we're using the curly brackets here to indicate we're taking in an object, it's actually going to look within base object for an attribute named title and then assign it to this new variable title. And let's go ahead and run this. And you'll see that now once we console.log title, we have that title that we extracted from that object. That's pretty cool. This name here needs to match what's in here. Let's go ahead and comment that out. We can use this in functions as well, same way that we did with the arrays. Let's create a function ret object, and it takes in nothing. And we will say return base object. It's just a function that takes our base object and returns it back. And now we can say title and summary, say const title and summary equals ret object, and then we say console.log title, console.log summary, run without debugging. And now that we've run it, we have destructuring assignment, and this is how we destructure. So basically we have this object that's coming back from ret object, and we are using this to destructure it into multiple variables, title, summary, and whatever else. Then there's one other thing that I want to address with objects. We can actually delete all of this. Let's delete all of this. Let's start over. New object. We're going to say const citizen equals name is Jake, SSN is 1, 2, 3, and that's my social security number. Not really. Let's now create a function called function extract SSN. We can do the destructuring within the parameters of a function. So let's say SSN. And all this will do is it will console.log SSN. And we will just call this function extract SSN, and we're going to pass in citizen, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so we are calling the extract SSN function. We're passing in the citizen object, which we declared up here. In the function declaration, we're saying as a parameter, we want you to destructure that object and create this variable called SSN. And then we just console.log that SSN, so we're extracting it. That's pretty cool. You can also do multiple parameters the same way that we would have anywhere else. We could say name here. And we say console.log name. And let's go ahead and run that again. And now we get both that are extracted. This is really helpful when you're working with JSON objects, the fetch API, any sort of RESTful API. Super helpful for pulling out that data without having to use, we could have done this another way, and this may have been just as quick. We could have just taken in this object and we say citizen. And here we could have said citizen.ssn, citizen.name, and sure, that works as well. Using the destructuring, it's a little less verbose, and so long as you understand it and understand how it abstracts and the power of it, you can use this to save yourself a lot of time. And again, okay, so I think that's enough of an intro for destructuring assignment. There are many use cases, many far more complex use cases for destructuring that I won't go into today, but I do suggest that you proceed with caution. Because of the abstraction, you are adding in invisible complexity behind the scenes that may give you a little bit of trouble in the future. And this is especially the case when you are building like helper functions and you want them to be very modular, and you are destructuring something that's getting passed, but then later on you want to use that helper function for something else. I kind of caution against using the destructuring as a parameter. It works, but just be careful, because if you want to reuse that code elsewhere, you're going to possibly have to go back and refactor other areas. If you found this video useful, please comment, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. It lets me know that you like it and that maybe I should do more of these videos. If you didn't like it, please comment and tell me why you didn't like it. Or if you have other thoughts, please comment and tell me what those other thoughts are so we can all share from your experience. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.